Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be doing some hand gesture studies and I will be going over my process for hand studies. I'm just going to be doing a few and I'm going to leave the reference on screen. And let's just jump into the first one. So what I like to do when I look at hands, since they're very complicated and our brain has an easy time noticing when they look really off, I section out the hand in shapes. This helps me get the proportions right. This helps me get kind of like where everything is going to be. And it's just really helpful to map out what you're going to be doing. I then proceed to I usually start with the thumb. Not always, but usually I do start with the thumb, and then I will section off where every finger is going to be. Now, there's a really big tendency to have most of the times the ring and the middle finger together. So in this case, I did section them off together. And you can use that as like a rule of thumb when you're doing like really cute little poses. And you can realize that by looking at other artists' work that artists tend to do this a lot. They just section off the middle fingers together, so it's just easier to get the pose down. And then the smaller finger is in one end and then the other finger on the other end, and it's a lot simpler to do it this way, and you get the pose down really quickly, really easily, and the majority of the work is done. Now you can take this a step further and add the nails, add the knuckles, other shapes that you see in the hand. But usually what I would do is just add the nails and move on. I like very simplistic looking hands, especially because usually they're really tiny in a tiny drawing. But you can add other details if you want. Sketching, I don't usually do that. I find that they look kind of creepy when I do that. But when I'm painting and stuff, I try to make them look nice, right? With all the little details and with the various skin tones and whatever. Second pose. This is a bit more complicated, especially because like you have to account for the interior of the hand. The inside of the hand is a lot different from anything else. I think the best thing to do is, again, block out the main shapes you see, and then go into the palm of the hand and really mark up where the two main areas of the palm is. If you look at your palm right now, you have a really big blob on your hand where that moves your thumb. So that big blob is the main thing that you could notice in the reference even when you're drawing the hand. And then you have a more triangular shape on the opposite side of that blob, and that really helps you mark down the inside of the hand. I didn't do that in this sketch, as I'm realizing, but that's a really nice rule of thumb to like section off those two parts, a circular part near the thumb, and then the opposite side would be like a more triangular shape, and that will help you like really define where everything is gonna go and just have an easier time portraying like the shape of the hand. And then just slowly add details, slowly add where the fingers are going to be. I think for shortening is also a really big struggle when it comes to fingers studies. So make sure when you're trying to do some hand studies to also include some fingers that have foreshortening. As you can see, the indicator on this one is foreshortened, and that is very important. And take it a step at a time mainly and focus on shapes. Shape language is the best thing when doing these things, when doing like hand studies. On to the next one. This one is a different one, and in this one you can really see the shape of like that circular shape that I told you where the thumb is going to be, and that's so noticeable. That's the first thing that I did when starting this drawing. And then the other side is also usually like a triangular shaped section, but in this case it was shortened, so I had to shorten it as well. Again, mapping out the fingers and going over where they all should go. This really helps with proportions and figuring out where every finger like stands. It really is important, and the rule is always going to be the same: shapes and then going into detail. The shapes really help with the proportions, and if you have to adapt, if you have to redo, that is completely fine. As you can see right now, I redid that last finger and added the handle in the shape that was left because I didn't do the proportions correctly when doing the shapes. So you can always fix it. It's always fixable. But shapes and then doing the details. And the details is just what you see and just practicing. I have hands that look really nice and I have hands that look really creepy. They're hands. It's a part of the body where our brains is so used to looking at them all day, every day. It knows really, really well how they look. And that's why they're so hard, because our brains will know when there's something off. So again, fourth time is the last time. We start with the shapes. I like to start with the square shape for the palm and then go in with the thumb shape. I usually add that triangle for where the base of the thumb is going to be. It really helps me like locate the thumb. And then I'll go with the forearm. You don't have to do the forearm. That's completely optional. To me, it helps with direction. And yeah, like I will do that and then go into where the shape of the fingers would go. In this case, I did do the thumb first. I would advise you to first map out all the fingers and then go into detail. In this case, I did it a bit differently, but it's definitely better to go in first with the shapes and then with the rest. And some hand shapes are going to be really easy to get the idea down. This one is basically done. All the other details, it's because I want to, but if you're doing this in a really, really small scale, you don't need to do anything further than this, because the hand shape is already translated, and that's like the important part, is to translate the hand movement, the hand shape, and whatnot. Yeah, I hope this helps. Again, it's a very simple kind of video explaining it, but there isn't really a lot of science to this. It's just mainly practice, practice, and practice. I still practice every day. I have days my hands look great. I have days my hands look really crappy. It's just part of the process. So don't stress, don't sweat if it isn't going well. Like this hand for me is like definitely the one that's most successful of all of the drawings we did today. But that's what it is. Some days they're better hands, some days they're worse. So just keep practicing. Don't get like discouraged by all the bumps in the road. And yeah, I hope this helped, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.